Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I'll be doing my review of WWE SummerSlam. So the night started off with Liv Morgan defeating Rhea Ripley and retaining the Women's World Championship, and Dom betraying Rhea Ripley as well. I thought this was a great start to the pay-per-view and a real just a really good start to what was a pretty decent pay-per-view. Dom's turn on Rhea I thought was executed really well. But no, I think it wasn't my first choice of openers. I think before the event I would have had Gunther and Priest go on first. In hindsight, I would have probably had Cody and Solo go on first. But yeah, I thought the targeting of Rhea's shoulder after her pulling it out, well not pulling it out, after it popped out of place, whether that was it looked like a work to be fair, but you know, it was genuinely a pretty grim, but I find it kind of cool moments where people have to pop their own shoulder back in, and for Rhea to kind of look at the announce table pretty sus and then run into it to pop it back in, I thought was really cool, and like a moment that really stood out to me. It's one of the reasons why like Ember Moon and Shayna Baszler is one of my favourite NXT takeover matches, is because just the toughness and awesomeness of Shayna Baszler bashing her shoulder into the post to pop it back in is really cool. And so it was like the same way here. Yeah, Liv played it very tactically. I thought like it was alright to start with her going in and out of the ring, but then Rhea kind of tricked her to stay back in, and from there they were off to the races and it was really good. It was pretty evenly contested. Even when Liv was targeting Rhea's shoulder, Rhea was getting pretty decent licks in afterwards. But yeah, the turn itself I thought was really clever by Dom, having Dom kind of help Rhea moments before he stabbed her in the back and helped Liv get the win, and the kiss at the end, and just the facial reactions from them both throughout the whole match was really good. When Rhea Ripley kicked out of Oblivion, Liv's facial reactions of like disbelief I thought worked really well, and obviously Rhea's facial reactions when Dom had turned on her I thought was also really good. Yeah, I think this match, out of all of them, this match made Raw must-see tonight. And yeah, I don't think I've been more excited for a Raw in a long time. And yeah, rip Dom, because if Rhea gets her hands on Dom tonight, he's as good as dead. But yeah, for me, great way to start the night. To have this feud come to I don't think it'll come to an overall end, but it's a really good way to start like the matches portion of this feud. I think it's really cool. And yeah, as a brilliant way, Breaker defeats Sami Zayn to become the new Intercontinental Champion in what felt like and what was a very short match. So not really a lot to say on this one. I thought Breaker looked great. Sami Zayn got a fair bit of offense in, even though it was quite a short match, but it still felt like Braun controlled and dominated the match for the most part. I thought this was a solid match to say how short it was. I think it went like 5 to 6 minutes, which is incredibly short especially for a Sami Zayn match, but I think it worked really well, and I am genuinely interested to see kind of where Braun goes as the Intercontinental Champion. But like, I think both looked good in this match. Obviously Breaker looked great with him become the new champion, but Sami didn't like get squashed as short as the match was. I would have liked to see him go maybe a bit longer, but I kind of get it. I feel like Breaker matches are known for being very quick, so if that's going to be something going forward, I feel like it fits his character really well. But yeah, as I said, interested to see how his title run goes. Not sure what is next for Sami, unless they kind of concentrate on him and Jey Uso, as they do have a pinfall win over the World Tag Team Champions. And obviously I feel like they're going to be involved in Roman Reigns' return in one way or another. So yeah, looking forward to see Breaker as champion. Zayn I worry about, but I feel like they might have stuff in mind. But yeah, good match overall, see how short it was, and Braun Breaker's the new Intercontinental Champion. After that, LA Knight defeated Logan Paul to become the new United States Champion, and you know, this was one of the better matches of the night and very, very enjoyable. The springboard moonsault from Logan Paul to the outside of the ring on top of LA I thought was probably the biggest highlight of that match and was incredibly impressive. And as always, it is just annoying how good Logan Paul is as a wrestler, and you know, I think now we've kind of get to a point where he's just like, we have to stop being shocked and stop treating him like he's a celebrity and stuff, and that he is a legit wrestler and he's damn good at it, because honestly the stuff he can do is fantastic. He didn't like get carried or anything during this match. The only real mishap I felt was the superplex, which I don't think Logan rotated enough just to get over. Like, it looked like it stagnated a bit, but still hit really well. But then I'm not a wrestler, you know, I'm just not fucking on the internet, you know. It's I can't really moan about how someone took a suplex, but you know, I feel like that was the only real like part that missed. But other than that, everything was great. I'm happy to see LA Knight as champion. I feel like he's going to bring prestige back to the United States Championship with just defenses, not like every week, but often enough that like he can have a good run with a title, lose it to someone who maybe deserves it as much as he does in the future, but also, as I said, is around all the time. We get to see the title more, because I think Logan did like 2 defenses in 273 days or something like that, which is just ridiculous, and Roman Reigns type numbers. And having Roman lose his title at WrestleMania but then still have Logan kind of do a Roman Reigns schedule, I think wasn't great choice. But I don't know, as I said, I feel like Logan might take some time off, especially with the whole backlash to the transgender Twitter stuff and whatever. Like, I'm not going to get into that, but it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see Logan Mal maybe till Royal Rumble, which isn't too bad. He's not like a marquee member of the roster quite yet, so like missing him for a bit makes him feel like a special attraction, which kind of makes sense. And yeah, LA Knight, I very much look forward to seeing his title reign and just seeing the United States Championship on TV often again. So yeah, positives all around for me. Logan was great. The match was, as I said, one of the better matches of the night, maybe a close second, maybe a close third overall, but as I said, all positives all around for me for this one. After that, we had Nia Jax defeat Bayley to become the new WWE Women's Champion. And for me, I'm not going to lie to you, this was the start of a weaker part of the show, in my opinion. The match was okay, but it was just okay. It wasn't anything really that special. Bayley's powerbomb onto Nia was very impressive. And something I feel like we've not seen in a long time is having someone lift Nia. I don't think we've seen it since maybe the Rumble when Jade Cargill did it. But yeah, I'm unsure whether Stratton coming out and, I don't know if you can even call it attempting to cash in, but she came out and, you know, brought the briefcase and a new referee, but Bayley very quickly took her out. But that caused more of a distraction for Bayley than it was to cash in, because it helped the final sequence of then Nia finishing Bayley off and getting the win. So I thought tactically, if that was the case they were going for, then very well done from Nia and Stratton there. If it wasn't and Stratton was legitimately trying to cash in, then unlucky, I guess. But yeah, I think as a looking forwards, I do worry about who Nia is actually going to face as a champion. You know, with Bianca and Cargill still very much concentrating on the tag team championships, even though they lost the match to the Witches, to Unholy Union on SmackDown. I feel like they may concentrate on them for a little bit longer because they only lost by disqualification. Therefore, they won't be going into the women's title match scene. And the only person I can really think of who will go for the championship is Naomi. And Naomi versus Nia is a match I am not at all interested in because I don't really like either of them. So yeah, I feel like this was kind of a lose-lose situation where I don't really know who Bayley would face if she won, but I don't know who Nia's going to face now she's won either. So yeah, I feel like the women's championship's going to go into a bit of a state of flux going forward, but hopefully they can bring it back round again when Cargill and Belair are ready to go for the women's championship, and maybe we see the return of Charlotte Flair. Hopefully as a heel, because I hate Charlotte Flair as a babyface. But you know, we've kind of got that coming up, but I don't know how, like, short term, how well this is going to be. But I also worry for Bayley as far as what she does after this. Maybe a rematch on SmackDown, but after that I can't see her winning the title back off Jax immediately. So as I said, I do worry for what happens for Bayley after this, other than just a classic babyface run where she's just helping people all the time, which I don't think is a great choice for Bayley, as she's too important just to be there. You know what I mean? But I worry that she will get lost in the shuffle. So as I said, the match was alright. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't overly good either. And I worry for both Nia and Bayley going forwards as what exactly they're going to do going forward. So yeah, kind of a lot of negatives coming out of this one in my opinion, but you know, hopefully my mind gets changed and we get to do something really cool on SmackDown and kind of going forwards. Following that, we had McIntyre defeat CM Punk with obviously Seth Rollins as a specialist referee. And my honest opinion is this was a huge disappointment. I really didn't like this at all. The whole match, or at least most of it, was concentrated more on setting up Punk versus Rollins than it was actually doing McIntyre versus Punk. And I found that very, very annoying. You know, Punk was constantly jibing at Rollins, whereas McIntyre was concentrating fully on CM Punk, and Punk wasn't doing that back, and therefore it cost him the match pretty much. The whole bracelet thing is getting a bit silly. Like, I get the point of it, but it doesn't need to be the focal point of this feud. You know, the fact that Punk took full concentration off Drew as soon as he saw that bracelet, because Rollins had it. You know, Rollins could have just put it in his pocket or something, and it wouldn't have affected the match at all. But you know, that wasn't the case. And then, you know, I think McIntyre's now said that he's kind of done with his feud now, which just isn't the case, because he took the bracelet back. Therefore, Punk is clearly going to target him again to get it back. So, you know, it's probably going to get to Bad Blood. I can't imagine they're going to face each other at Bash at Berlin. I'd be surprised if we see Punk at all until like the build up to Bad Blood. But yeah, I think, you know, Rollins, if anything, as a special guest referee, caused as a bigger distraction than he did like being in charge of the match and kind of not taking anyone's shit. It didn't click with me at all. I really didn't like it. I thought it was one of the worst parts of this pay-per-view, as I said, with Nia and Bayley unfortunately not delivering, and then this not delivering. It was a real low point in the centre of this really decent pay-per-view. But you know, it is what it is. I feel like, as I said, we'll probably leave Punk and Drew for now, and Drew will do something else. We'll bring it back up for Bad Blood, where I assume they'll probably face each other inside Hell in a Cell. But yeah, for me, massive disappointment. It didn't live up to the build at all, and like, this was probably the biggest built match going into SummerSlam, and yeah, it just wasn't all of what it could have been or should have been either, which is very disappointing. Following that, we had Gunther defeat Damian Priest to become the new World Heavyweight Champion in what was, for me, by far match of the night. This was really enjoyable, and yeah, just like they both went out there and beat the crap out of each other, and it worked really well. The visual of Gunther, who already had kind of the marks on his chest of being chopped up by Finn Balor on Monday Night Raw, was then getting chopped again by Priest, and the visual of him bleeding from his chest I thought was really cool, and like a moment that I don't think was like scripted or anything. I think like it just happened by accident, but worked really well and really helped the match. Yeah, Priest, I thought this was his best match on the main roster, at least. I can't remember much of his NXT stuff, but I remember very much enjoying his NXT run. But this is his best main roster match so far. I thought he absolutely killed it. Him as a babyface, absolute smartest guy in the room. Like, you know, when Balor turned on him and put Gunther's foot on the ropes to cost Priest kind of the pinfall, for Priest to then turn and look at the screens to see the replay of what happened, I thought, man, he's like the smartest babyface in history. Why aren't babyfaces doing that more often? But yeah, then he kind of got distracted by the fact that he was trying to get to Balor, which then cost him the match, which makes sense. I feel like, you know, the whole point of SummerSlam was to kind of put Judgment Day in a state of flux, and it did that perfectly. Balor's turn was really good, Dom's turn was really good. And yeah, I think Gunther as the new world champion, I think is going to absolutely kill it. And I know that I think he only has to hold the belt till like next June to become the longest reigning world heavyweight champion, which is perfectly doable in Gunther's case. So yeah, I feel like he's going to have a great run as the world champion. Balor versus Priest should be really good. The match itself was great, so all positives absolutely all around going forward for this. Well, as far as going forwards, and the match itself was really good. So yeah, very happy with this one. And it was a match I wasn't particularly thinking would be match of the night, but the fact that it was, and it was just so good, like, made this so much more enjoyable to watch. So yeah, Gunther's your new world champion. Balor and Priest is coming up, and yeah, loved it. All, like, every part of it I loved. And finally, in the main event, we had Cody Rhodes successfully defend the Undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa, and we saw the return of one Roman Reigns. I thought the match was okay. Like, it was very slow, but like not in a kind of methodical and really good way that a Roman match normally is. Yeah, this match was just slow. It didn't really pick up till the interferences started, kind of the complete polar opposite to the Bloodline Rules match at WrestleMania, where Cody and Roman had a really good 15-minute match, and then the interferences started. This was just really slow paced, not very well done, and kind of disappointing in a way. And then once the interference started, you kind of thought it would pick up a bit when the Gorillas of Destiny, or Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, came in and took out Cody. We then saw the returns of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, who went to help him out, which I found very anticlimactic. I felt like we could have gone with other people. I honestly thought if this was going to be Bloodline Rules that maybe we were going to see the return of Jimmy Uso. That simply wasn't the case. And yeah, we continue with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton feuding with the Bloodline, and to see Kevin Owens constantly feuding with the Bloodline is getting very, very, very tedious. You know, the fact that he's been feuding with them on and off for 4 years now, it just feels like we need other people involved in the Bloodline stuff, and let Kevin Owens be free of this now. And even Randy Orton, I mean, like, he's been feuding with them practically all year, and that is getting a bit old as well, and it feels like we're only waiting now until Randy turns on Cody. Yeah, but once Tanga Loa and Tama Tonga were taken out by Orton and Owens, Jacob Fatu came out and he went to take out Cody as well and put him through a table and injured himself. Like, it was like kind of, it's more worrying because he's just become a tag team champion as well. So now, like, are they going to have to vacate the titles? How long is he out for? We've been told it's not that bad, but we've seen him with a boot on. So yeah, I worry for what the tag titles mean, just because I assume they'll probably just give them to Tanga Loa instead, but I really don't want him to do that. It also felt as if, like, someone else was supposed to come out to take out Jacob and then Roman would return. Oh shit. And then Roman would return. But then they just had Roman return anyway, as Jacob Fatu, as my brother put it, was kind of going around like a toddler trying to get up when he couldn't, and screaming and shouting, and it was very funny, to be fair. But I understand why, when, like, if someone gets injured, they kind of get really mad because it means they're injured. So, and then yeah, Roman Reigns' music hit, the whole crowd went insane, me and my brother fucking went insane, and yeah, it was good to see Roman back. He looks in very good shape. It kind of reminded me of when Edge returned. Like, he kind of has that kind of vibe to it, which I felt was really cool. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what Roman has to do. I feel like the first question is he back full-time or is it part-time? Will he be on Raw tonight? Will he be on SmackDown on Friday? I don't know. With him being a free agent now, I don't know. Will we see the return of Paul Heyman? Hopefully, because we need to know whether he is alive. We know he's alive. But, you know, it's... I don't know. The fact that he came to help Cody means, like... I mean, showed that there was a mutual respect through combat, and obviously Solo chatting shit about him and trying to be the tribal chief makes perfect sense. Also, Roman gave him the nod, so again, makes perfect sense. Whereas, so if I had to guess, and only guess, we're going to get to War Games, which will be Bloodline versus Bloodline, and it's going to be Roman, Cody, Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy against Solo, Tama Tonga, Tanga Loa, Jacob, and Hikuleo. That would be my guess for what War Games is going to be, but we could be wrong. But yeah, the match itself, personally, I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was any good. Like, it felt like we're just having this match to set up Roman's return. And if they were going to do that, I wouldn't have had it go on last. I feel like if Roman had come out at the start of the show, and then we'd had maybe Priest and Gunther go on last, or maybe Punk Rollins and McIntyre go on last, or even Rhea and Liv go on last, would have been a lot better, and had Roman and that Roman's return start the show off. I feel like it would have been probably the better decision. I don't like the fact that Roman's return ended it, because it was kind of a bad match just to get to that point, which really didn't really click for me. But as I said, happy to see Roman back. Hopefully he's back on a more... he won't be full-time, we know that, but semi-regular time would be great. But yeah, the match between Cody and Solo really bombed in my opinion, and really wasn't that good, and I expected a lot more. So disappointed on one side, but glad that Roman's back on the other side. So those are my thoughts and opinions on WWE SummerSlam 2024. Roman being back, what do you feel he's going to be doing? Do you think he's going to be concentrated on Roman straight to Survivor Series for War Games? Do you feel like he might have a match at Bad Blood or something? And also, like, Liv and Rhea and Dom, what do you think is going to happen there? Like, put your opinions for pretty much everything that happened down in the comments, so let's talk about it. I thought the show was decent overall. The middle was a bit lackluster with Bayley and Nia and McIntyre and Punk, and the main event was pretty mid, but obviously a massive moment with Roman coming back, so it kind of saved it a little bit. Gunther and Priest absolutely stole the show in my opinion, and yeah, I feel like it's SummerSlam that'll go down in history for, like, all the drama that happened, the turns, the destruction of the Judgment Day, Roman of course coming back as well. But yeah, I say, do put down in the comments below what your opinions are, what you think can happen at Bash at Berlin, and all that good stuff. I'll ask you to like and subscribe and share and all that stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.